This show is brought to you by Safety FM.
It contains strong language, sexual situations, and violence. It is intended only for mature audiences.
Finally, show with the balls to call it like it is. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Countdown to audio torture.
The Rated R Safety Show starts in 3, 2, 1.
Let the eardrum pain begin.
Forget the corporate bullshit. This is the Rated R Safety Show with your host, Dr. It doesn't matter who the host is.
Oh, so true. Even in the year 2024, it does not matter who the host is. What matters is who the listeners are. There is no doubt about that. Anyways, how are you? I hope everything is good and grand inside of your neck of the woods. Today is Thursday, January the 4th of 2024. Day numero cuatro of the year and 362 days left to go. Yeah, that's it. That's it. I mean, that's how short these things end up going. It's kind of a fun time. We are broadcasting from the Safety FM studios in Orlando, Florida, and coming across the multiverse known as Safety FM. And then we are hanging out with our friends and colleagues over there.
You're being infiltrated. Radio Big.
Yes, infiltration, radio big, kind of a combination of things that we do. No doubt about that, because, hey, what else would we be doing if we weren't talking, jabbing, and rabbing, and all that other kind of fun stuff, because that is what we do around here. So anyways, how are things? I hope you're off to a grand start. I have to ask the question because there is no doubt about it. How's the year going for you? How are things moving? How are things grooving? Have you noticed a change in the life that you wanted? Or are things about, about the same? Has 23 changed everything to 24? And, the fun stuff that are supposed to be happening? People get very excited about the new year. So I want to see if you're excited. I want to see how you feel about it. I want to see how things are in your neck of the woods. Because it's important. It's important to talk about. I never want to sit back and, play down on how important these New Year things are for some people. And you could be one of those people that you find this so important that that number changed. And that's okay. That is okay if that is how you feel about it. That, hey, it's super important that that date or that year on the calendar has changed and things are, moving. It's okay. Some people love that stuff. Some people don't care about it. Some people just, they're everywhere with it. So there you go. Anyways, with that being said, we have a lot of stuff to talk about for sure today. We still have some people on vacation around here. That's even the more fun part in regards of what we're talking about. So let's talk right away about what the hell's trending in the overnight.
Here is what was trending. Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, so as I look at the trends of the ends, because, what else? I mean, I'm not looking at trail ends because that sounds like something you shouldn't be looking at for anyone. If you're looking at somebody's trail ends, you probably have some problems. I would want to know how you made that category in life to get there, but that's a whole other story. Anyways, Tesla gets international competition and a record-breaking vessel hits the seas. We'll talk about that as we talk today. Also, Britney Spears brings in some big names for her next album, and more women have come forward on an accusation against Nigel Thiggo. Yeah, we'll talk about that as in showbiz. I'm sure I'm butchering that last name. Snoop Dogg will take part of an upcoming Olympic game, and Game of Thrones is getting an animated spin-off. I don't know how much that's true because we talked about that briefly yesterday. Also, just when you think that you couldn't possibly fit any more ink onto your body, Travis Barker shocks everyone as he gets more ink done. And the King and Queen announced plans to go abroad later this year. We'll talk about that as we get into the Royals. So we got some stuff to talk about for sure. So if you're not familiar with what we do, that's okay because those things happen. I mean, we're only going in today to episode, I think, 890. I can understand that. So here's what our show is about. We talk about safety and we talk about the news. We don't talk about safety news. We talk about safety and the news. Let's make sure that we're clear. And then we talk about some things that you should probably know about. Some things that you should probably discuss if you haven't discussed it and go from there. And we'd like to talk about what is going on. We bring in some professional broadcasters that know what the hell what's going on. Some are on vacation still. That's okay because that's always fun. And then we kind of move around and do everything from that particular standpoint. Outside of that, that pretty much sums up our show. We give it all to you on Radio Big and on Safety FM and kind of give it to you in a package in less than an hour or so. We do a video stream during the first hour of our 3-hour show. Yeah, this is hour number 1 of 3. We refer to the first hour as the Rated R Safety Show. You have an option of getting into our system by going to callinradio.com. That's callinradio.com, and that will get everything moving for you. So that's it. That sums up what we do. That sums up the whole little thingo. So, short, brief, and to the point. So, with that being said, why don't we go ahead and do this and let you know what the hell is going on inside of the world of the news, because I think that that's going to be important for our discussion.
Here is the news on the Rated R Safety Show.
From Feature Story News in the UK, I'm John Beaver. 2 former US presidents and a UK royal family member are among the list of people named in court documents with connections to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. A judge in New York allowed the release of the papers as part of a lawsuit related to Epstein's associate Ghislaine Maxwell, who is serving a 20-year jail sentence for sex trafficking crimes. Epstein took his own life while awaiting trial in 2019. Nick Harper reports.
More than 150 people are named in these court documents, and now the first names are out, among some 943 pages of previously sealed legal paperwork. Bill Clinton and Donald Trump are among those names, which is no real surprise, as both former presidents had been photographed with the late financier. Clinton is named more than 50 times in the filings, but there's no implication or suggestion of any wrongdoing. Similarly, the documents contain no alleged wrongdoing or illicit behaviour by Donald Trump. A member of the British royal family is also named, Prince Andrew. Buckingham Palace has previously denied claims of sexual abuse as categorically untrue.
Authorities in Japan say the Coast Guard plane that collided with a passenger jet at Tokyo's Haneda Airport wasn't cleared for takeoff when the accident took place. 5 crew members aboard the Coast Guard plane were killed. Patrick Falk reports.
Transcripts of traffic control released by Japanese authorities appear to show the Coast Guard plane that was hit by Japan Airlines 516 hadn't been cleared for takeoff when the accident occurred on Tuesday. But the circumstances remain unclear and investigations are ongoing. Experts say it normally takes more than one error for such accidents to occur. Authorities are still trying to determine why the plane was on the runway at the time. Reports also say a strip of lights embedded in the tarmac at Haneda Airport to prevent wrong turns was out of service at the time.
Donald Trump has asked the US Supreme Court to overturn a Colorado ruling removing him from the state's upcoming primary election ballot. Colorado's highest court ruled last month that the former president was ineligible to hold office due to his role in the January the 6th Capitol riot. Ira Spitzer reports.
The U.S. Supreme Court is now in a position to decide whether states, including Colorado, are allowed to keep Trump off the ballot. Colorado and other states have used the 14th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which prohibits those who have engaged in insurrection from holding office, as the basis for removing Trump from the ballot. However, it may be difficult to convince the U.S.'s highest court of that, especially considering that Trump is the Republican frontrunner, and it would be a politically explosive decision. Trump appointed 3 of the 9 justices on the court, which has a solidly conservative majority at the moment.
From bureaus worldwide, this is FSN.
With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks, looking today at Israel's military strategy. Now the new year is underway, and the world appears to have witnessed the first targeted killing of a Hamas leader in what seems to have been an Israeli drone strike. Salah al-Aruri died on Tuesday in Beirut. He's credited with being one of Hamas's top tacticians and would have been very high on Israel's hit list in the aftermath of last October's Hamas attacks that killed more than 1,400 Israelis. So is this a sign that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is now ordering the more targeted strikes that US officials have been demanding in the wake of a mounting civilian death toll in Gaza? Noga Tarnopolsky is a freelance reporter based in Tel Aviv.
It appears that the really intense period of hand-to-hand, door-to-door urban fighting is winding down. But the Israeli government isn't saying a word. So all I can tell you is what we see, which is thousands of reservists coming back home. You can't hide that. But it's interesting that the United States government has said more about this than the Israeli government.
Prime Minister Netanyahu says his military occupation of Gaza will continue for months after 85% of the territory's population was displaced and 20,000 people killed in the weeks since Israel's reprisals began. With FSN Spotlight, I'm Simon Marks.
To recap the top stories, 2 former US presidents and a UK royal family member are among the list of people named in court documents with connections to the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Authorities in Japan say the Coast Guard plane that collided with a passenger jet at Tokyo's Haneda Airport wasn't cleared for takeoff when the accident took place. And Donald Trump has asked the US Supreme Court to overturn a Colorado ruling removing him from the state's upcoming primary election ballot. That's the latest feature story news. John Beaver reporting.
This show is almost as enjoyable as hearing the sound of the toilet flush. Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. That's mobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello. Safety never sounded so terrible. Rated R Safety Show.
I know you all want to hit your revenue targets and get the launch done. Well, making sure that your team knows what to do and how to do it is a huge part of it. So I'm sure that you all do different kinds of training, and I'm willing to bet that you probably use PowerPoint, Zoom, etc. I also bet that when you get someone droning on about a topic using these tools, you probably zone out. And your team does too. I mean, it is a reality of what happens. That's why I strongly recommend a tool called Articulate 360. That makes it so easy to whip together interactive, really beautiful e-learnings that really engages people and gets info across. You can create short-form micro-learning, super interactive courses, and really whatever you need when you're in their site. Then with a couple of clicks, you can send it out and check on it and see the progress of your team. Your team can also check back on the training anytime they want in a super simple portal. Literally everyone uses Articulate. Over 120,000 companies and all 100 Fortune 100 companies. Check it out at articulate.com/360 to start a free trial. That's articulate.com/360 to start your free trial. And don't forget to tell them that I was the one that sent you there.
Is your safety training old, stale, and hackney? Safety trainers still preaching a warped version. How about safety training that actually addresses your hazards in your workplaces and is not standardized baloney from 25 years ago? Contact the Safety Wars team at safetyWars.com or call Jim Posel at 845-269-5772. Remember, if you're receiving this message, you are the solution to unsafe workplaces.
These days, it can be hard to find and hire the right candidates for your small business. That's why LinkedIn Jobs made it easier to find the people that you want to talk to faster and for free. I have to tell you, even before they ever became a sponsor here on Safety FM, we have used LinkedIn Jobs to help find the people that we have here on Safety FM. It's an easy service to use. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 770 million people. Focus on candidates with just the right skills and experience and use screening questions to get your role in front of only the most qualified candidates. Then use the simple tools on LinkedIn Jobs to quickly filter and prioritize who you'd like to interview and hire. It's why small businesses rate LinkedIn Jobs #1 in delivering quality hires versus leading competitors. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to faster. Did you know that every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/safetyfm. That's linkedin.com/safetyfm to post your job for free. Terms and conditions do apply. And don't forget to mention that Jay Allen sent you.
Radio Big. Streaming 24/7 at radiobig.fm.
Have you ever wanted to start live streaming and were not sure how to do it? You can start live streaming up to 40 social media platforms all at one time for as little as nada. It's going to cost you your time. That is what it's going to cost. You can pre-record, you can live stream, you can do a multitude of things. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to safetyfm.com/one. That's safetyfm.com, ONE.
Safety in a way never heard of before. The Rated R Safety Show on Safety FM.
Oh, you know how it is. We are hanging out here 18 minutes past the top of the hour as we get to do the things that we do around here, baby. So let's talk about it. Let's talk about everything that's going on because, hey, we got a little time and, well, not a lot of attention span either, but that's a story for a whole other day. So let's talk about it because, listen, some things have transpired from 23 to 24, and we need to get into some news stories because that's how it works. A biomedical research company with plans to raise more than 43,000 monkeys on a 500-acre plot of land has some local Texas residents pulling out all stops to stop the project. Brazoria County outside of Houston is otherwise a quiet and serene area from the shores of the Gulf of Mexico, and locals say that monkey farm would make an undue amount of noise. The shrimper who lives there ask how loud are they to Wall Street? How much of a racket does 43,000 monkeys make? I mean, how much of a racket does 43,000 people make? Maybe that's the question. Now, municipal officials and reps in the state government are petitioning the powers that be to stop the development. The rep for the company says their plans are on hold while they investigate the options. Now, if you do go to Wall Street Journal, Yes, that's WSJ, just in case. If you want to use the abbreviated version, you can take a look at the whole article. You can take a look at the whole thing on what's going on there. It's an interesting time, that's for sure. So how would you feel if all of a sudden they told you, they being whoever owns the neighborhood that you're in, says, hey, we're about to put 43,000 monkeys, nearby where you live. I mean, how would you feel about it? Good, bad, or indifferent? I mean, I don't care where you stand with it, but how would you feel? I mean, what is your general consensus of, hey, good, bad, different, not so good, great, fantastico, all that fun stuff? So just some stuff to think about. So there you go. There you go. Some stuff to consider and all that kind of fun stuff as things are happening. So there you go. So I don't know, just some things to move forward with as we move forward. Anyways, a Chinese car manufacturer became the largest seller of electric vehicles in the fourth quarter last year, overtaking Tesla. Both BYD and Tesla marked a record sales numbers to close out the last 3 months of 2023 with more than 525,000 units, and BYD came out on top with more than 41,000 EVs. For the year, Tesla remains on top with 1.8 million EVs sold. This is according to CNN. So do you take a look at this and go, BYD might take them over? Or is this just something that's happening on the other side of the planet? I'm just asking the question because, hey, it becomes a very interesting thing. No doubt about that. So what do you think? What do you think about it? I guess it's an interesting time when it's all said and done. I don't know. I get all hung up when people start going, this company's better because they sold more. That's not always necessarily the case. I just want to point those things out, but that's okay. So let's continue talking. The icon of the seas has arrived at the port of Puerto Rico, and it appears for the first voyage of January the 27th as the biggest cruise ship in the world. This measures 1,198 feet long, weighs about 250,000 tons, making it 5 times larger than the Titanic, and costs about $2 billion to build. Its onboard water park is the largest of any cruise ship in the world. And the passenger accommodation, the luxury ultimate family townhouse, yeah, I did say townhouse, accommodates 8 and boasts a private sun deck and multiple balconies, but costs about $85,000 for a 7-day trip. And I didn't stutter. I didn't mean $8,500, $85,000 for a 7-day trip. Now listen, if you're able to afford that, good for you. $85,000 for a 7-day cruise in your own little ultimate family townhouse. Knowing how some people are, maybe they'll just get it for themselves. I don't know. Maybe that's a cool thing to do. There's some stuff to think about. Anyway, Starbucks is expanding to bring its own reusable cup policy to drive-through and app orders. The policy allows customers to have their own mug filled with their own beverage up to 40 ounces in an effort to reduce the estimated 6 billion cups it uses in a year. This is according to The Verge. Now, will this increase the time the drivers spend waiting in line to lead to more exhaust emissions? I'm just asking. And remember for a short period of time there after, once COVID kicked in, how buffets and reusable anything was kind of a bad thing? So are we away from this now? I'm just trying to figure it out. And then now we have to talk about this whole health and policy thing on how that's going to work. So now you're going to have people that are bringing their own cups in, and then you're going to have to make sure that they're not induced with something else before the cup gets to the person back and all this kind of stuff. I think there's a lot of levels here that you're going to have to consider as you're doing it. I don't know. What do you think here? Do you care? Do you not care? I'm not a $5 coffee cup kind of guy. And if I'm keeping it 100, I'm not a coffee cup kind of guy, period. I just don't like coffee. I think it tastes terrible. And I don't even know why anybody would want to drink that. But hey, it's, that's your own gig. So listen to this one. A 13-year-old from Oklahoma is to be believed the first person to complete every level of the game Tetris. Willis Gibson accomplished the feat last month, reaching level 157 in 38 minutes of gameplay. The Tetris company confirmed the monumental achievement, telling Popular Science it breaks the new ground of the realm of Tetris. Worth noting, in the 40 years since the game debuted, level 29 was believed to be the highest. But this kid made it to level 157. Now, I have to know, was it a hacked version or did he do it one by one? I need to understand it.
We at Safety FM are not responsible for what this idiot behind the microphone is saying. He is trying to be entertaining. Rated R Safety Show.
I don't know if I said anything idiotic. I mean, I just think I said what I was thinking. So there you go. Anyway, so with that being said, let's talk about some deaths that occurred. Because, that's always a good time. So, football player Ken Baldwin has died. Passed away on December the 27th in Oro Valley, Arizona, of natural causes. Baldwin played the center for Green Bay Packers in 1964 to 1973 and was part of the 3 consecutive championship teams. He was 81 at the time of his passing. Also, football player, Frank Ryan has died. He passed away on New Year's Day after a battle of Alzheimer's disease. Ryan spent the majority of his football career playing QB for the Cleveland Browns. He was 87 at the time of his passing. Also, in some baby news, Sienna Miller was welcomed her first child with boyfriend actor Oli Green. She's 42 and he's 26. Hey now. Details regarding the newborn are not known. Miller is a mom of 11-year-old Dollar Marlowe, whom she co-parents with Tom Strudgers. So there you go. Some stuff to think about and talk about. Anyways, let's get into it. Let's talk about some money matters, because I think that money does matter for some. So let's go ahead and talk about some things that are going on right now according to that. Anyways, the Dow lost about 284 points to close at 37,430 on Wednesday. The S&P lost about 38 points to close at 4,704. And the NASDAQ lost about 173 points to close at 14,592. West Texas Intermediate closed at $73 a barrel, and Brent crude was at $78 a barrel. The national average price of a gallon of gas, are you ready for this, was $3.09 on Wednesday. And Bitcoin tanked more than 4.5% on Wednesday, trading just under $43,000 on Wednesday evening. And there was more than 3,030 flights delayed within, into, and out of the United States on Wednesday, and more than 45,000, could you imagine that shit? 45 cancellations. Friday night's Mega Millions drawing will be for a $140 million jackpot or a $68.8 million cash payout. So if you want to play the game, you have the opportunity to do so. So there you go. I have a question for you because I'm not sure. Some people have been telling me, since we were in last year to this year, that we need to also sprinkle in some of the entertainment stuff that we do on hour 2 and 3 and hour number 1. And I've kind of been hesitant about it. And not hesitant today, I've just been hesitant about it, period. So would you like to hear more about that stuff? Or should that just be an hour 2 and 3 type of thing? I don't know. So take a listen to this. So Julia Michaels and Charlie XCX are 2 names that is running the work on some music for Britney Spears' forthcoming 10th studio album. While Spears has yet to record any music, insiders say that Charlie and Julia have been brought in to help write some tracks. The album is, whenever it debuts, will be Spears' first in nearly a decade. This is according to the U.S. Sun. So there you go. What do you think? Are you a Britney Spears listener? Do you care about her releasing new music, or do you not care at all? It becomes a weird thing when we start talking about it, when you start talking about people that haven't released anything for almost a decade, because it could be good, bad, or indifferent, depending on how you take a look at it. There is no doubt about that. Also, take a listen to this. Is there such a thing as too much Travis Kelce? His manager certainly thinks there could be. The Eanes twins, who represent Kansas City Chiefs star, recently told the New York Times they have fears that the world will soon grow numb to the sight of Kelce because of how much he's in the media, especially considering his relationship with Taylor Swift. To curb the concern, the Eanes brothers said that this year they plan to sign Kelce to fewer deals and focus on quality over quantity, as well as authenticity first. This is according to the New York Times. Also, in some other news, the next album by Selena Gomez release may be her last. During a recent appearance on Smartless podcast with Jason Bateman, Sean Hayes, and Will Arnett, Gomez said that it's going forward with to pick a lane for her career. I do feel like I have one more album in me, but I would probably choose acting, she explained. This is according to Deadline. So there you go. So let's talk about this, because apparently this is going to be the rabbit hole we're going to go down for a moment. Kelly Clarkson says that her ex-husband, Brandon Blackstock, who also acted as her manager, told her that she wasn't sexy enough to be the coach for The Voice. Recalling her conversation during the past court hearing, Clarkson said that after she brought up wanting to be part of the singing competition show, Blackstock said that NBC executives wanted someone sexy and had to have someone that was black. Clarkson would eventually get her wish and join the show and coach in 2018, just 2 years before filing for divorce from Blackstock. I mean, how the hell do you bring that up? I'm just asking the question. Hey, you're not sexy enough to be on The Voice. I mean, think about that real quick. Anyways, listen to this one. 2 more women have come forward in the allegation of sexual assault against the producer Nigel Lithgow. The women, identified as Jane Doe, say that they were contested in an all-female reality competition, All-American Girl, when the incident occurred in 2003. They claim the claims come just days after Paula Abdul filed her own complaint against Nigel, saying that he sexually assaulted her when she worked for him on 2 separate reality competition shows. Nigel has denied Abdul's allegations, but has yet to address the latest round on page. This is according to page 6. So there you go. What else do I have? Let's do one more. Jimmy Kimmel is threatening to take legal action against Aaron Rodgers after the quarterback suggested that his name could be on the list of people connected to Jeffrey Epstein. There's a lot of people, including Jimmy Kimmel, who are really hoping that the list doesn't come out. Rodgers quipped during a recent appearance on the Pat McAfee show. Kimmel tweeted his response to Rodgers' comment, writing, "I've not met, flown with, visited, or had any contact whatsoever with Epstein, nor will my name be found on this list." McAfee also addressed the beef, saying that he understands why Kimmel would be upset, but that the late-night host said stuff in the past monologues about Rodgers regarding his non-vaccination status and believe that his belief in extraterrestrials. So, of course, you're going to get some back and forth mumbo jumbo because of shit like this. But that's what happens. Welcome to the world. Anyways, it is that time to do that thing that we do around this time frame. So let's go ahead and get into our main story right now.
Here is our main story on the Rated R Safety Show.
So listen, it looks like yesterday's main story did correspond with quite a few people in regards of day one or one day. So thank you for the people that reached out and wanted to talk about it. And, really driving forward, what's the case? But, I guess that I don't want to say that I jumped the gun, but I also don't want to say that I was behind in time in talking about this. Because, listen, there's a lot of stuff that happens. There's a lot of things that occur between transitioning from one year to another. There is a lot of things that some people like to talk about. And I was thinking about this. When you got into this new year, what were your plans? What were you thinking about? Were you thinking on how happy you were on all the stuff that you were able to accomplish in 23? Were you able to sit back and go, okay, I know that this went well, but these are the things that we need to work on? It's okay if you did or if you did not. So, new year, new me, all that stuff that people like to say. And, it's whatever people say for them. Whatever works out for them. But I'm sitting here and I'm going through all this stuff and I'm giving some consideration to some things on how we would need to make certain things look for organizations going forward and how things should look in regards of compliance safety and how things should look as if the world was perfect, which no world is perfect, just in case. But what do you want to do? What do you want to move forward with? Because right now, I wanted you to take a look at this. And I'm not going to sit here and give you the whole blank canvas conversation, but you have a beginning point now. You've tested some things in 23, possibly 22, that you wanted to work on. So we're getting into 24. And that's a big deal for some. But what are you using as foundational pieces for whatever you're working on inside of your organization? Now, listen, I can get all hung up and talk about, the safety aspects and talk about the things that, should be your sole focus. And I've noticed a lot that throughout this whole last period, people get so hung up on social media in regards of, well, this version of safety is better than that version of safety and blah, 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 and not realizing that having a version of safety is probably a good start. And yesterday I was reading some stuff where somebody was talking about, let me see, what was it? That they were I've seen some things that have been interesting. One organization claims that their main person is the future of safety, which is laughable. I read one yesterday that safety is humor, and I guess you can really sit back and say that that one's laughable. I was reading one yesterday that also the guy was talking about that he was the, how did it work? The safety differently investigator. So he investigates differently. And I just keep on looking around, and it looks like it's jargon to get to a point instead of actually realizing that safety needs to lead forward in regards to what we're trying to do. And stop talking about safety changes. Maybe it's more talking about operational changes in how your culture is impacted in regards to what's going on. Listen, you can have the nerds, the scientists, the gurus, whatever you want to call them. But you still have to have a foundation point. And I don't understand by me going around and telling you, oh, yes, this last year I visited this many countries, went to this many things. That means that my versionality of safety is better than yours, and you know it. It seems silly to me. If anything, foundational pieces need to be established. I have to tell you that when you start looking at this whole world of ours in regards to safety, most of the time, and I'm going to say most of the time, an emotional event has led you to look into some of the information that is going on, opposed to it being straight up, hey, this is our safety plan and we're running with it. Think about it for a moment. Because how many times has it worked that way? I don't really care how many continents you've been to. I don't really care how it has worked for you as being a consultant and how much you've had to travel. You know what it is to go to a meeting and taking a look at a safety consultant that gets on the stage and starts talking and says, oh, listen, I'm going to go ahead and stop right now, 15 minutes into their presentation, because I had a long travel night. where you have a few hundred people there to see you, and you're just going to stop because you're tired. I mean, I thought it was weird. So I don't know. I think we've gotten into this weird place here in regards of what to expect, what to accomplish, and all that kind of fun stuff. So what if we just go back to the simple process? Reconfiguring your safety stuff. You have basics. You have a foundation. You started somewhere. So how about we start reconfiguring what you have? You know, it might not be perfect, but safety reconfigured might be the way to go about it. Think about that for a moment. It might take you places.
Oops! What did he just say?
We at Safety FM don't always agree with the viewpoints of our hosts and guests.
Now back to real safety talk on Safety FM.
Don't go anywhere.
You're listening to the home of real safety talk.
You are listening to Safety FM. We'll be right back.
Let's start using cutting-edge warp speed 5G technology with your cell phone. Let me tell you about my friends at mobile.io. They have an ultra-fast 4G LTE and 5G network that covers 99% of Americans. So they've got you covered everywhere. Think about it for a moment. You have the opportunity to take a test drive for 10 days with unlimited talk, text, and premium data. What is premium data? Premium data is an allotment of a cellular data that you receive from a higher priority on the network. You won't get throttled like you will with some of those, well, non-brand service providers. To find out more information, all you have to do is go to mobile.io. That's mobile.io to start your 10-day free trial.
Hello.
Radio.
This portion of the show has been sponsored by Private Internet Access, America's #1 virtual private network, or VPN. Even if you use incognito mode, internet service providers is storing your browser data and many times even selling it. But Private Internet Access, or PIA, can help you. PIA encrypts and reroutes your internet traffic through one of its own servers, hiding your data from your internet service provider or network admin. And with servers in over 75 countries, you can get unrestricted access to geo-blocked content from around the world. PIA comes with easy-to-use apps and browsers extension for all devices, a rock-solid privacy policy, open source security, advanced customization settings, and it was just ranked the fastest VPN in the world by PC Magazine. And if you sign up right now with PIA, you can take advantage of a special deal only for Safety FM listeners. Only by using the following link, you can get the digital privacy for less than $2 a month. Yes, you did hear me correctly, less than $2 a month, and an extra 4 months for free. So that means for only $1.98 a month and 83% off, you can get this service for you right now. That's so much more inexpensive than virtually every other VPN on the market. And if you get it right now, you can take PIA's 30-day risk-free challenge. You can try it out for 30 days, see if you like it, and if not, just return it for a full refund. So just go to safetyfm.com/VPN. That's safetyfm.com/VPN to try out the best VPN on the planet completely risk-free. Now remember, safetyfm.com/VPN.
We are now video streaming the Rated R Safety Show. I don't know why our host has a face for radio. Rated R Safety Show.
It's always amazing to me on how technology changes, and so does the environment that we're in. And cyber criminals will do everything they can to take advantage of a system. If you don't own a home, you have nothing to fear about what I'm about to tell you. But if you own a home like me and you don't guard it with home title lock, you're inviting home title fraud. One of the fastest growing crimes. Cyber thieves around the world know
Our home values are sky high at the moment, and that makes us a target. The crime is scary simple. Let me explain it to you real quick. A cyber thief simply forges your name on a property sale form and refiles it. That's it. Now he or she is on the deed of your home and you have no idea that you're a victim. Then the person takes out a loan on your home and vanishes, leaving you to prove to the police that you didn't commit bank fraud. Home Title Locks puts a virtual barrier around your home title. The instant they detect any kind of tampering or anybody messing around, they help shut it down. Look, if you have equity in your home, you need to guard it the best way that you can. Some people might even go as far as guarding it with their life. Go to HometitleLock.com and register your address to see if you already are a victim. And enter the code RADIO. That's RADIO. That's the code RADIO for 30 days free of protection. That's code RADIO at HometitleLock.com.
It's this show, and they just make fun of a whole bunch of people. It's just too funny. It's too stupid.
Rated R Safety Show.
Okay, here we go. 46 minutes past the top of the hour. We are hanging and banging on this Thursday. So there you go. Rated R Safety Show coming across on Safety FM and Radio Big. So let's get into it. Let's talk about it. This is Turn Back the Clock by Van Stee. So there you go. Give it a little download action. Little streamer-eamer. Available on Spotify, YouTube Music, and Apple Music. Because why wouldn't it be? Yeah, there you go. Yeah, episode 889. That means we're going to hit episode 900 here shortly. Crazy. Where does the time go? Anyways, thanks to Van Steve for allowing us to play this here on the Rated R Safety Show. That is for sure. Anyway, so let's talk about this real quick. This is going to be the most important thing that I ever tell you in my lifetime. And no matter what you're facing, you deserve to be connected to help. We want you to know that people have been where you are now and things can get better. Healing is possible. To find out more information, all you have to do is do the following. Go to TWLOHA.com. That's to write love on her arms. TWLOHA.com. That will get everything moving and grooving for you. No doubt about that. So, some stuff to talk about. You go there. There's all kinds of resources there if you're struggling with mental health issues. If you're struggling with addiction, depression, anxiety, eating disorder, self-injury, suicide, trauma, grief support. It's all there. TWLOHA.com. Give it some consideration. Think about it and say, hey, that's the website I need to go to. This is the stuff I need to look over. Because those things happen. We all need someone to talk to. And it's okay to look for help. If you don't want to get involved with anything along there yet, you can go into their website, TWLOHA.com, click on About, Get Involved, or the stories or events that are taking place, or even self-care information. So there's a whole plethora of information that's there. So there you go, TWLOHA.com, to write love on her arms, just for information purposes. Anyways, let's continue talking about some other things that are going on
inside of the world, because that is what we do, just for the sake of doing so. So how long should a shower last? According to dermatologists, if you want the best for your skin, you should be taking a maximum of a 5-minute shower using lukewarm water. According to Dr. Alia Ahmed, has a list of 10 showering practices which she says will enhance your skin health and appearance. Among using your hands rather than a cloth, she stresses warm showers over hot ones. Why? Well, according to her, using hot water causes dilation to the blood vessels as the skin wants to cool down, which promotes inflammation and itch. The 5-minute rule, she says, is especially important for skin of people who have hard water, and that it can lead to dryness and irritation of the skin. As for showering tips, this is what she says. She says, aim for once per day. Remember to wash extremities like ears, toes, and legs. Wash all products off properly. Not should you only the water not be too hot. Don't force yourself to have freezing shower. No need to double cleanse if you're using a suitable moisturizer body wash. Use quarter-sized squirts of product. Wash your face at the wash your face at the sink after your shower with lukewarm water. It is easier for the skin, and pick products that nourish your skin rather than strip it, like alcohol-based ones. 15 minutes while my wife is just getting warmed up, literally. And I don't want what's best for my skin. I want to get clean and be comfortable while I do it. So there you go. What do you think? I am just asking the question. So there you go. Some stuff to think about for sure. What is your shower technique? It depends on what music I'm listening to as I'm taking the shower. If it's a long song or songs, that plays a factor. I even have a friend that was telling me that they end up actually watching some movies while taking a shower. And I was like, that's a whole other thing to get into when it's all said and done. Anyways, with that being said, I think it's some time to bring in some John Smalls into our life, and maybe we should have him come in here and let him tell us about what exactly is going on with the Motivation Minute. What do you think? You think it's time to do that? Let's go ahead and do it right now. No, seriously, let's do it right now.
The Motivation Minute is courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. Today's quote was submitted by Greg. Confucius said, "Our greatest glory is not in never falling, but in rising every time we fall." I saw this on Facebook about a week ago. I love this quote. Think about the number of very famous failures that we know of as very successful people. Best-selling authors who couldn't get a publisher to believe in them. And then millions of books later, they're not thought of as a failure at all. Global brands that started with many stumbles before getting the traction that took them to the brand we know today. If you want to be successful, you need to be okay with failing from time to time. But when you do fail, be sure to rise up and keep going. That is how you truly become known as a success. This has been today's Motivation Minute, courtesy of InsuranceChicken.com. They're known for insurance quotes. I'm John Small. Thanks for listening. Your favorite motivational quotes can be submitted for upcoming programs at motivationminute.org.
Another pitfall of our society. Rated R Safety Show.
Oh, you know how it is. We're pitfalling around here, no doubt about that. So let's go ahead and continue on talking about some things as we have very limited time before we need to get you the hell out of here. Anyway, social media posts may not be creating the impression that posters are hoping for, says a new study. Researchers in New York discovered that social media updates, such as Facebook statuses, often lack the context that are seen in isolation, leading to misconceptions that the person is doing the posting. The study found that those viewing the post generally perceive social media users as more open, having lower self-esteem, and being less reliant on others than the users perceive themselves to be. Interestingly, viewers of the post had some more accurate perception of the poster traits when updates were done in multimedia format, including text, images, and hyperlinks. Wow. So if you thought that you had a low self-esteem before, where's that one going to take you? Also, neuroscience experts and founder of Brain Tap, Dr. Patrick Porter, has explained exactly what is going on in the brain of people who use TikTok. According to him, TikTok brain is a term used to describe the cognitive and neurological changes observed in individuals who have used the platform a lot. He says that it characterizes by a notable reduction of attention span, often compared to neuroscientists' approximately 5-second attention span of a goldfish. The phenomenon manifests as an increased need to instant gratification and a diminished patience for tasks that are longer and more complex. What if some already had a short attention span even before they used TikTok, asking for the next generation? So what do you think? How do you think that's going to apply? Yeah, go have a conversation with your kids about that one. I'm sure that's not going to go over too well. So there you go. Anyway, let's talk about some things that happened back on this day. Back in 2021, South Korea records more deaths than births for the first time. The country holds the title for the world's lowest birth rate. That was back in 2021 on this date. Let's talk about some birthdays that are going on today. Coco Jones turns 26. Emma Mackey turns 28. Derrick Henry, 30. Chris Bryant turns 32. Charles Milton, 33. James Minor, 38. Jenna Mackey turns 45. Till Linderman, 61. And Tina Knowles turns 70 today. Also, Peter Steele, from Typo Negative, would have been his birthday today. He actually passed away back in 2010. Yeah, good old Typo Negative. Love them still. Let's talk about some days that we can celebrate today. National Trivia Day, Pop Music Chart Day, World Hypnotism Day, Tom Thumb Day, and National Spaghetti Eddie Day. Yeah, National Spaghetti Day. If you need a random joke for today, well, I of course have one of those for you. The therapist said that I have trouble expressing my emotions. Can't say I'm surprised. If you need a phone starter for today, try this. What food do you crave the most often? If you have a question for the water cooler or need one, here's this one for you to do. Men are more likely to have these hidden away than women. What are they? Love letters from their ex. Love letters from their ex. I'm kind of surprised by that one. Anyways, let's do some whack facts real quick. Only 5% of the world's oceans have been explored. The British royal family isn't allowed to play Monopoly because it gets too competitive. Mary Stuart became Queen of Scotland at the age of 6 days. Let's see. People whose names start with the letter A have the longest life expectancy. The only muscle that never tires is the heart. And earlobes line up with your nipples. Earlobes line up with your nipples. Yeah, I said that. So there you go. Anyways, thank you for being the best part of Safety FM and Radio Big, and that is a listener, because without you, it doesn't make a lot of sense to do what we do around here. I would love for you to come out and hang out with me for the next couple hours or so. I'm going over to RadioBig.fm exclusively for the next couple hours. If you don't want to do that, you can stay here on Safety FM and hang out with the likes of Sheldon Primus. That'll be a good time doing that, talking about the world of safety consulting. So there you go. Anyways, that's going to sum it up. If I can leave you with a deep thought for today, I would love to leave you with this one. Great work is done by people who are not afraid to be great. Think about that for a moment. Seriously, think about it. Think about what I'm saying. Anyways, I know who you are. Duh. You know who I am. Love you, mean it, and goodbye.
The views and opinions expressed on this podcast are those of the host and its guest and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of the company. Examples of analysis discussed within this podcast are only examples. They should not be utilized in the real world as the only solution available, as they are based only on very limited and dated open source information. Assumptions made within this analysis are not reflective of the position of the company. No part of this podcast may be reproduced, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form or by any means, mechanical, electronic, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission of the creator of the podcast, Jay Allen.